We are here today at the entrance to the Vittoriale degli Italiani, the retirement home, if you will, of the great Italian poet Gabriele D'Annunzio, on a day that would reflect the poet, passionate and windy just like him. It was here that he spent his twilight years, where the fascist regime could honor him for his contribution to Italy, but also keep a suspicious eye on the poet. Here we are now, inside the Vittoriale with our good friend Gabriele. Natural height, he wasn't a big man. And we're here today to thank Patreon supporter Kevin. Kevin, thank you very much for your continued support, and I hope you enjoy the visit today.
We enter what you can see is a very humble and sober place, reflecting the spirit of the poet once again. He was not big-headed at all. We see the sumptuous gardens, but let's keep that to ourselves as the statue orders. We don't want to offend the poet, after all. Here we see the tools of the trade of a poet. Some of his books, his pens, and writing utensils in general. But D'Annunzio wasn't just writing utensils. He was also passionate about animals such as horses and dogs, and of course, a great war hero, remembered for the Impresa di Fiume, the endeavor of Fiume. Here we see some of the unusual costumes he loved to wear, showing his love for the Orient, and he probably wore them in one of his many, many sex parties. Then, of course, when you build yourself a home, why not put in a little theatre to entertain friends overlooking Lake Garda? Then it's up to the house itself. Once again, very humble little abode. And of course, who doesn't have a cannon in their courtyard? Unfortunately, it was not possible to film inside, but I do recommend you look up the interior of the house of Gabriele D'Annunzio. The tight entranceway in particular was interesting. If you were sent left, it means you were a welcome guest and didn't have to wait long. If instead you were sent to the right, you would have to wait for ages, knowing that you were not welcome. It seems that when Benito Mussolini came here in 1925, he was made to wait for 2 angry hours. Then, of course, you want your little garden with the fountains. And why not a nice piece of artillery lying around? You need a place to go walking and, of course, to hide with your various partners and lady friends. We see here a sober recreation of Roman gardens. And once below, the view from there. I'm sure it looks just like your modest little garden at home. And why not stick a rhinoceros in there occasionally? That will help. Then, of course, the question is, if you have an extra boat lying around from when you were being besieged in Fiume, why not attach it to the nearest mountain? That would be a great place for it. As we make our way from the mountain onto the deck of the ship, we get ready for another breathtaking view of Lake Garda. You can just imagine the poet standing here, taking in the scenery and imagining his glory days gone by. Then, of course, if in life you did things in grand style, when you throw off your mortal coil, there's no reason you shouldn't continue with your own mausoleum. But of course, you don't want to be buried inside a cold, dark place, but up above, where you can see the view for miles around. and in death buried not alone, but with the comrades who fought with you in the endeavor of Fiume, the event for which Gabriele D'Annunzio is perhaps best remembered.